Hello everyone and welcome. My name is Krysten Hansyn and this is Goddess Imagine, a transformational yoga and modern metaphysical studio. Welcome back to the channel. I'm here today with a brand new series that I'm introducing with the tarot that involves doing monthly readings for each of the individual astrological signs. This series was designed to help us harness the power of our individual star sign and utilize that energy to power us forward into 2026 and beyond. When we're on a journey to become the highest version of ourselves and make all of our dreams come true, we want to make use of all of the elements that we have available to us. And we will begin this series with the Aquarius. I'm an Aquarian. Aquarian season officially starts on January 20th and goes all the way to February the 18th. Aquarians are also represented by the air element. I know that they say we're the water bearer, but we're aligned with the air element. And that parlays into the swords with the tarot. Aquarians are definitely a rare breed. We're extremely independent, innovative, intuitive, and intellectual. We're also typically very clear communicators. We can be friendly and outgoing when we're younger and have a big social circle. But as we get older, we tend to pull away and become more particular about who we choose to spend our time with. We also can be fiercely rebellious and stubborn and, well, to the point. Some people call us rude. We just don't like small talk, right? We also don't like bragging or lying and deceitful people. We're open and honest to a fault and at times overly passionate about the people, places, and things that we care the most about. This 9-card reading for Aquarius will help us to discover important information and inspiration about ourselves and our soul this season and how we can use that insight to maximize our journey to become the woman that we were created to be and manifest the lifestyle that we've always imagined. Before we begin, I'd like to take a second just to ground myself. If you care to join me, you're more than welcome to. If you can't right now because you're driving or doing something else, you can just simply tune in to the sound of my voice. Otherwise, the way we do this is I just like to sit up tall in my seat, maybe close our eyes down as we begin to ground, center, and focus our mind, body, and spirit. We can invite our higher power and spiritual team to join us. We connect to our inner goddess. We embrace our divine feminine energy. And we ask to create a circle of protection around us for this session. We can set an intention for our reading today if there's something particular that you'd like to gain from this reading. When we're finished, we take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Open up our eyes and we begin. I just like to do that every time I begin a reading just to get myself in the best mindset. I'm going to give the cards just a fresh shuffle here. Today I'm using the Joy de Bear deck by Paulina Cassidy. I hope I'm saying the name of the cards right. I never pronounce it correctly. If you haven't checked out any of their decks, I invite you to do so. They're so creative and imaginative. They just really spark my intuition, and I love to work with them. Cards have some nice energy. One more time. All right, let's begin. And we start our reading with card number 1. Now, card number 1 is the higher theme. What is the soul level lesson of this Aquarius season? This card sets the energetic tone for the entire reading and reveals the deeper purpose behind the experiences that are unfolding around us right now. For card number 1, we have the Tower. Interesting. Well, there's a lot of things going on in our world around us, but typically, we see the Tower card, the damage and dysfunction. To me, the Tower card doesn't always represent that the worst is happening around us. To me, the Tower can represent divine inspiration or divine interruption. When we see that lightning bolt come in, to me, that's a sign of Spirit getting our attention. That some way, somehow, we're in an area of our life right now where we're not making a decision. And either we can choose to make that decision and move forward with elegance and grace, or that decision can be made for us and we're going to go kicking and screaming. And an example by that is maybe you're someone that's in a relationship that you've been wanting to end for a while. You really don't know what to do and you're kind of putting it off. And all of a sudden someone shows up with divorce papers or tells you that they're moving out, right? Now you're forced into action. Or maybe you've been in a career for a while that you can't stand and you've been thinking about getting another job, but you haven't. And all of a sudden you're terminated. The Tower card is telling us that we're in an era of indecision, and coming into this Aquarius season that we want to get very serious about the types of decisions that we want to make and make them, because if we don't, we're at risk for spirit making them for us, which can put us in a very uncomfortable predicament. Card number 2 is our authentic self. Where am I being called to live more truthfully? This card highlights aspects of our identity, our morals and our values, our characteristics, or elements of our self-expression that want to be acknowledged and without compromise. How can we be true to ourselves? Card number 2 is the Devil. Oh my gosh, I do not make this up. 2 powerful cards. I'm not surprised we're Aquarian. Listen, the Devil, again, doesn't necessarily mean doom or gloom. The Devil means that we're typically chained to some type of negative belief or behavior, some type of dysfunctional behavior, some type of something that we turn to or run to when things begin to get chaotic. Listen, Aquarians are not perfect people. We are, yes, we're very creative and we're imaginative and all of these things, but we also can be a great detriment to ourselves. Some of the biggest addicts and alcoholics that I've ever met in my life have been Aquarians, okay? And it's not because that we can't handle life or that we check out. It's just that everything gets so big in our head and we get going so fast and doing so much that we tend to avoid the things that we need to and turn to other things as coping mechanisms. How can we become our authentic self is to shed that misidentity. It's to pull away from the things that you normally run to and dare to be vulnerable, dare to be genuine, dare to be authentic. Maybe tap into that honest element of yourself, okay? And begin to really be true with who you are as an individual. This card represents aspects of our identity, our morals, and our values. This can represent sharpening those, beginning to rebuild ourselves from the core up, right? If you're in recovery like I am, or have been in abusive relationships or things like that, we come from a very skewed perspective. This card is calling us to release the skew, release the damage and dysfunction, and begin to get vulnerable with yourself as we begin to move into 2026. Card number 3 is the mind's focus. What idea, belief, or vision is shaping our reality right now? Aquarians are mentally driven. This card reveals the dominant thought pattern influencing our choices this season. Let me just take a sip of my water. Those 2 cards almost took me out. So this card reveals, what are we currently thinking about? What's on our mind all the time? The card that we have is the 2 of coins. Now, this can be finances because it's the coins, which would be the pentacles, but this is also about finding balance in our life. In the Aquarian season, many of us have been in a state of flux, okay? Coming into this new realm of Aquarianism, we want to be able to get ourselves on even ground. We're coming into this season off balance, and as you can see, there's chaos and confusion behind us. When I see the 2 of coins, it's usually about chaos and dysfunction going on with us, and then it's emulating and affecting other people around us. When the question is, what is our mind's focus? What idea, belief, or vision is shaping our reality right now is we're off balance. We're out of focus. We're not paying attention to the things that we need to, right? We're avoiding things in the Tower. We're going back to poor behaviors with the Devil card, and we're in flux. We're like this. And Aquarians can do it really big, right? When we go off the rails, we go off big time. There's like rockets shooting off the sides of us, okay? And that begins to affect other people. And the people around us get sick and tired of that kind of dramatic energy. So we want to begin to hone it in. When we talk about what's shaping our reality, this is indirect, that we are just out of alignment, we're out of focus, we're out of balance, and we're going to begin to bring that back into a little bit more sense of reality. Card number 4 is the emotional undercurrent. What feeling needs to be acknowledged instead of avoided? This card gives us insight into the emotions that may be suppressed, intellectualized, misunderstood, or ignored, okay? Card number 4 is the emotional undercurrent under all of this chaos. The Eight of Wands, very interesting. So the Eight of Wands cards represents fast-moving action, moving quickly, doing things with a quickness, not waiting around and agonizing. When we're looking at the emotional undercurrent, there's a part of us that wants to move on quickly from all of this chaos. There's a part of us that wants to jet off into a new universe, just like this card represents. We're sick and tired of this ourselves, because as human beings, we can become emotionally overwhelmed with ourselves, right? And that's how we begin to check out and get into other inappropriate behaviors. We can't even stand ourselves. When we look at the emotional undercurrent, we don't want to do this anymore. We're exhausted. We're tired. We need to take a break. Instead of not paying attention to this or suppressing it or ignoring it, connect with yourself. What change do you want to make, right? We want to make out a list and have a plan and things like that, but we don't have to agonize over it either. What can we quickly begin to do that can bring us to a place of peace, that can begin to reduce the chaos, to reduce the mayhem that's around us, all right? That can help to balance our emotions and help to rope in that focus. Card number 5 is the liberation point. This asks us, what needs to be released in order for us to move forward freely? This card identifies habits, attachments, relationships, and roles that we play and/or expectations that are limiting our growth. Card number 5 is the 5 of Wands, okay? Always feeling like we're in battle, always feeling like we have to defend ourselves, all right? When we talk about what needs to be released for us to move forward freely, stop feeling the need to defend yourself, right? When we begin to take accountability, when we begin to move ourselves forward and bust out of those repetitive patterns, when we're making quick decisions to get us out of that mindset, right? We begin to release those behaviors. Maybe some of us in the Aquarian realm feeling like we have to defend ourselves or we have to continuously stand up for ourselves. I tell you, I've been really big on the political front, and I've been trying hard to pull off of that, right? One of the things that I want to release is getting myself involved in politics. I want to pull my energy back. I've never been a political person, but in light of everything that's going on and being an Aquarian, I can't help but pay attention to things like this, okay? We talk about social justice and all those things. Those are causes that we're naturally, passionate about. But there's a call here to stop doing this, right? When we begin to pay attention to other things or other people more than the people that we love, when we begin to back ourselves into corners and defend ourselves in everything that we do, we begin to lose our authenticity. We begin to lose who we truly are. And when we talk about what things need to be released, this can also be people, places and things around us that are causing us this influx. Maybe we're defending our spouse or we're defending our children or we're standing up for something, but the overall call is stand down, okay? Our liberation is stand down. Stop fighting for everyone and for everything and just be in the moment, right? And when and here's something too, we don't necessarily have to defend ourselves and our beliefs to anybody. We're allowed to believe exactly how we want to believe and feel how we want to feel. The more that we stop talking about it and move forward into action, the better we are for ourselves and everyone around us. Next, we have card number 6, the empowered action. What conscious step aligns me with my future self? This card offers practical guidance for action, especially important for Aquarians who can stay in the visionary realm for too long. In other words, right, how do we snap out of the daydreaming and get us into action? Because as Aquarians, we can be stuck too long in this phase. We can be stuck here with the contemplating and the questioning and the charts and the graphs and all of these things. And life is moving on around us and sometimes without us. And we can find ourselves on our ass looking upwards. When we talk about what conscious step aligns me with my future self, the card that we have is the 9 of Cups. Okay, the 9 of Cups is about calming down and being our affluent, up-level selves. It's about putting all of the energy down. It's about tapping into who we are as a woman, aligning ourselves with that divine feminine energy, and just allowing ourselves to be the highest version of ourselves. We don't have to extend our energy into everything and everything around us. We can turn our attention inwards and we can focus that energy into our own personal growth. When we talk about how do we snap out of that imaginary state of ourselves, how do we stop daydreaming and get into action? What the 9 of Cups tells us that we connect with that higher essence of our being. We connect with our higher self, that calm, cultured, divine feminine energy, that part of us that when we're not in that stressful zone, when we're not overreacting and doing all of the things we shouldn't be, that there is a very cultured, intellectual, divinely inspired feminine energy that exists within us. And we need to connect to that energy more in order to move us forward. Sometimes we forget that we have everything we need to succeed. We forget that we have our intuition. We forget that we have our gifts and graces. We forget that we have all of the things we've studied, our life experience, and so much more. And we keep thinking that there's going to be something else or someone else or whatever else that's going to give us something new and different to snap us out of this mode. And the only thing that really can is us, who we are internally. We just have to calm down. We have to ground, center, and focus the mind, body, and spirit and bring ourselves back to that cultured energy that each of us as Aquarians we possess. Next, we have card number 7, which represents community and connection. How do relationships or collective spaces support or challenge us in the moment? This card speaks to our friendships, our relationships, maybe our social circles or our coworkers, the people in our work environment. How are we interacting and utilizing that energy with our Aquarian need for connection? Because we are social creatures. We do enjoy communicating and being with people that we like to spend our time with. So how does this card represent what's supporting or challenging us in this moment? The card that we have is the 5 of Swords, okay? There's some external conflict going on. Maybe it's not within us all the time, but there's some conflict in the external realms within us. Maybe there's a friend or a relationship where there's been a lot of negative interaction. Maybe you've been, having constant disagreements with your closest person, or maybe your love relationship just isn't where it's supposed to be. Maybe you're having a fallout with your grown children and you haven't seen them or your grandchildren in a while, and it's really causing you a lot of distress. But somewhere in there is this constant circle of chaos and conflict. And when we talk about what is challenging us right now, it's this. When we think about social engagement or social interacting, we like to come in and have a free spirit, right? We want to have a light mind. And when people are angry at us or upset at us, or they have their own negative inner workings, okay, it shatters our energy, especially if they're people that we love and care about, right? Especially with friends that we care for, or our partner, or our children, or other people. So right now there's a conflict going on. And maybe it's something that can be resolved. Maybe it's something that you can have a conversation with, but it's negatively impacting your desire to go out and to socialize with these people. And moreover, it's causing you to feel self-conscious. You're starting to lose your self-confidence or your self-esteem. You're beginning to feel uncomfortable when you come into certain situations because you can feel that energy and you're just like, And also, it can lead us to feel like sometimes we're doing something wrong. We may not be. Sometimes, most of the time, conflicts that we experience have to do with that person. Okay? Maybe we're doing things to add to it, but a lot of times when people have problems, it's within them. And we can sometimes take that on as it's our problem, we did something wrong, etc. So the message here is that to begin to resolve those things, not feel intimidated or integrated by that energy, to recognize that there's an issue there. If there's a way to resolve that energy, we want to go ahead and do that. But at the same time, we want to respect our peace, because we can go down the rails very easily, especially coming up into this Aquarius season. Next, we have card number 8, which is the season's gift. What reward, insight, or breakthrough awaits us if we trust this process, right? If we do all of this work, what can we expect to happen with positivity in this Aquarius season, okay? This reminds us of the true value of the Aquarian sign, okay? This is what we have within us. The card that we have for this is the Ace of Swords. Beautiful. Beautiful way to end this aspect of the reading. The swords are synonymous with the Aquarius, correct? The ace represents new beginnings, a new start, a total do-over, right? And I have this series coming up that's called 2026, the year of the dynamic do-over. This is just more confirmation that we are on the right path. But let me break this down. This is giving us an opportunity to begin our life over from the beginning. We can absolutely, positively reconstruct ourselves from the beginning and all of the ways that we want to. We can learn to make decisions to move us forward with powerful intent, to let go of the things that we're holding on to, right? We can release the negative habits that are keeping us chained to certain behaviors. When we look at card number 3, our mind's focus, right? What vision, belief, or reality, or what idea, belief, or vision is shaping our reality right now, right? Is being in chaos, being in that constant state of unrest. Our emotional undercurrent, we want to get moving, right? We're tired of feeling like we're being held back. We want to move forward with powerful intent. Our liberation point is stopping that cycle of conflict, right? Always being in that era of discourse. We want to let that go. Our empowered action, what aligns me to see my true self, is to be my true self. Stop fighting everything and everyone. Just relax and become that divine feminine energy that each of us possess. With our community and our connection, what's getting in our way of our social circles, right, is having that constant stripe, just feeling that aggravation going on around us. Our season's gift is being able to start over, taking one step at a time. We don't have to fix everything about us right now, but what we can do is realize that there's hope for the future. Just because things have been chaotic for maybe a very long time, like I said, there's been a lot going on around us. It's easy to get caught up in that chaos, but we still have an individual life to live. We're independent, strong, intuitive women, and we can do anything that we set our mind to. We just have to start somewhere, and our spirit is calling us to move with a quickness. So we want to begin making those changes now. And the good news is you can do anything that you want to. What does the highest version mean to you? What is becoming the woman that you were created to be? What is manifesting the luxury lifestyle look and feel like to you? Get out your journal and begin to write things down and start to take small steps, because small steps can lead to big action. To conclude our reading, I have our goddess reading. I like to do a little spiritual insight card from our inner goddess, and that will be from the Mermaid Oracle. I know, we are the air sign, but we are still mermaids at heart. Oh, one of my cards got flipped upside down here. Hold on. I don't know what happened. We'll just give them a light fluff here and see what our goddess message is to inspire us on our journey. All right, and I'll just take right from the top. Our card is time out. It says awareness, contemplation, solitude, and time alone. What a beautiful card. I love the artwork on these cards. The Mermaid Oracle is something so precious to my heart. I love the whole mermaid vibe. But more importantly, we need a time out. We need time to sit down and reflect. We need to gain a higher awareness about ourselves because mainly these two cards have us so bogged down in so many deep elements of our life, and we need to bring ourselves out of that. We're light individuals by nature. We don't do well with that negative energy, but once it takes root and becomes habit, it's very difficult to break those chains. So we kind of have to force ourselves up and out of it. This card tells us to find some time alone, to maybe sit down, to journal, to read, go get a pedicure, go get a facial, go do something for yourself that helps you to rebuild your inner spirit. Maybe take a nap on the afternoon or, do something different. For me in 2026, something that I'm doing somewhat successfully so far, we're only week 3 into the new year, but is having personal time. I'm so busy with the business, my husband, and doing things for my daughter. She just had a baby, and I don't mind any of it, but I get so in the busy that I don't take time for myself, and I can sometimes neglect issues around me. So I also have to be mindful, and as mermaids, we want to tap into that internal mermaid energy that us Aquarians have. Take a time out. Find some solitude, create some sacred space in your home, and begin to craft out what is your new life going to look like in this brand new Aquarius season. And that wraps up our reading for today. I know this is a lot of information and you're more than welcome to replay it if you'd like to hear it again. But as Aquarians, we tend to forget who we are and what we're about. Like I said earlier, each of us possess specific gifts and graces that we can utilize and tap into to help lift us upward and into the highest version of ourselves and to make all of our dreams come true. We just have to learn how to trust ourselves and trust our intuition again. There may have been damage and dysfunction, but in 2026, in our Aquarius season, there's brand new light. If you're looking to get yourself back on track, I just created a brand new video in the library called the Word of the Year event. And this is like an hour and 10-minute session that takes us through several exercises that helps us to properly prepare for 2026 and beyond. If you're looking for something to kickstart that process, I sincerely invite you to watch that video. Thank you very much for joining me today. I truly appreciate your time and energy. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them below. If you could also subscribe to my channel. I don't know what's going on. Been having an issue with subscriptions lately, so I kind of like to see where that's at. And I hope to see you in the next video. Thank you very much for joining me. I wish you all brightest blessings, and I will see you in the next video. Namaste, everyone. Have a wonderful day, and thank you.